normally feel stressed of everything not going as perfectly as planned? You facing nervousness whenever you think of having a presentation or making a public speech? You are not alone in this journey, because that is what I call glossophobia. You have a fright, a stage fright of public speaking. It is with this opening I will come you all to the 4th edition of course, the Anti-Glossophobia, which is here live on Multimedia Plus online television, and of course our Facebook page, the Anti-Glossophobia Academy. I am your host, Augustine Martinez. The 4th edition topic is the reason why people have stage fright and its remedies. 1. Self-consciousness in front of huge crowd. It is very much obvious that you find it very much comfortable whenever you are having a conversation with a friend or two, but find it very much awkward whenever you do a public speaking in front of huge crowd. The secret is that the same people you talk to individually are the same kind of people that do normally sit in this huge audience. And that is why, as a public speaker, it is expected of you to be very much enthusiastic in knowing your knowledge, your material, and also in making sure that you know your audience. The reason why you are doing the public speech, it is because you are talking or addressing the audience and not about yourself. So you must pay less attention to your self-consciousness and focus on your material and that of your audience, because that is the reason why you are giving the public speech or presentation. Secondly, we have fear of appearing nervous. If you can vividly retrospect, I did mention that nervousness is normal. If you do have pounding heart, which is the elevated heartbeat, you have a sweaty palm or clammy hand, which means this is something that is very much normal for each and every human being. But as a public speaker, you can develop self-confidence by trusting yourself, knowing your material. I think that will help you out to get the fearness disappeared entirely. Then thirdly, we have concern that people are going to judge you. Of course, you're a human, you are not perfect, and nobody's perfect, and nobody's expecting you to be perfect. But if you take your time to prepare, definitely you will give a very beautiful and inspiring presentation. That is why, as a public speaker, it is expected of you to prepare very well whenever you are having a presentation to make. Then fourthly, we have past failures. Let me tell you a story when I was going to school. During my high school days, the first time I was given the opportunity to debate, all I did was to memorize my introduction. After the introduction, I lost of words. I was just moving helter-skelter of the podium, just because I didn't prepare for the debate well. So what is expected of you? If you think about your past failures, thinking that, oh, I think that has been planted already in me, whenever I do a public speech, I'm going to fail or I'm going to be embarrassed. No, you need to develop that mind of focus and getting over situations. Because at the ending of the day, if you prepare very well, you will be able to give a very beautiful and inspiring presentation. The fifth one is poor or insufficient preparation. That is why, if you can very retrospect, I did mention in my 10 tips to a better public speaking that you must know your material. Knowing your material will help you to be self-confident and also well prepared in giving a presentation. That is why you need to know your material. You need to know your material very well in making sure that you give a very beautiful and inspiring presentation. Then the 6th tip here says narcissism, which is the excessive love of oneself. It is very much nice to love oneself, but come on, whenever you are given the opportunity to give a speech or a presentation, your focus should be on your audience and that of your material. That is why it is highly expected of you to prepare very well and as well focus more on the audience rather than yourself. Love yourself, but love your audience much more and your material whenever you're having a public speaking or presentation to make. The 7th tip here says dissatisfaction with your abilities. You thinking that I am not competent enough. You can only not be competent if you don't take the time to prepare. When you take your time to prepare very well for a presentation, you have all the abilities to present. That is why it is expected of you as a speaker to be practicing more often and making yourself very much au fait with the materials in which you will be presenting. By so doing, you will be very much satisfied with yourself and it will give a very beautiful and inspiring presentation. The 8th tip here says discomfort with your own body. Wow, It's your body. Why is it that you find a physical easiness whenever you are talking to a friend or a colleague? Wow, they are the same people that do normally sit in the audience as well. That is why it is expected of you to have some body gesture, body language, facial expression, demonstration whenever you do on a speech. By so doing, you will be able to captivate the minds of the audience. The ninth point says, poor breathing habit. Probably you have never gone for a music lessons or song lessons. If you've done that before, they will teach you a breathing habit. Where, as a public speaker, whenever you're given a speech, it is expected of you to give a pause, to give a mute, or to hang on a little bit, take inhale and exhale. So at the ending of the day, you will be able to speak fluently, and you will be able to articulate on matters that are very much relevant. I think that will help you to give out a very beautiful presentation. And the very last one, it says that you're comparing yourself to others. Wow. Why is it that you have to be, you need to compare yourself to others? You are differently built up. You are a different individual. You came in this world alone. You are definitely different in doing your things. That is why it is expected of you to focus more on your material and the audience, rather than compare yourself. I think I like the way this speaker over there did his public speech the last time. What is expected of you is that you must make sure that you know your material, you speak the way you have used to speak before, and you make sure that you don't imitate people, so that whenever you speak, people will say, oh, why is it that Madden is speaking like another individual? You need to speak just like the way you used to speak before, and you need to make sure that you phonetize the way you have used to phonetize before, rather than imitating people out there. This is expected of you. To throw light on the 10 tips why, or the 10 reasons why people have stage fright. The very first one I did mention is that self-consciousness in front of large groups. The second says a fear of appearing nervous. The third one says concern that others are going to judge you. The fourth one says you're thinking of past failures. The fifth one says poor or insufficient preparation. You need to prepare very well if you want to give a very beautiful and inspiring speech. The sixth one says narcissism. It is obvious you need to love yourself, but whenever you're given the opportunity to make a speech, focus more on the audience rather than yourself. Love your material, your subject matter, more often whenever you're given the opportunity to give a speech. The seventh one says dissatisfaction with your abilities. If you don't have the abilities to give a speech or presentation, you need to be practicing more often, so that you make yourself affair with the materials and the public speaking skills, so that you will be able to give a very beautiful and inspiring presentation. The eighth one says discomfort with your own body. It is your body. You must make sure that you are very much okay with it whenever you're given an opportunity to give speech or any public presentation. The ninth one says poor breathing habit. Of course, you need to develop a habit whenever you're given a speech on how to breathe, how to take a pause. It is very much nice. That will as well help you out a lot. And the very last one in which I mentioned is that comparing yourself to others. You are not alike to others. You are quite different in your own way. That is why, in order for you to develop your own public speaking skills and abilities, or differentiate yourself from others, you need to be very much unique whenever you're given a public speech, so that you need not to compare yourself to others, but rather than focus more on what you're doing. This is how I draw down the curtains of today's edition. Of course, the anti-glossophobia, here live on Multimedia Plus online television, and of course our Facebook page, the Anti-Glossophobia Academy. I must remind you all that practicing often and making yourself much more prepared whenever you're given an opportunity to make a speech is much more required of you in order for you to become a great or better speaker. I thank you so much for listening to me. I am your host, Augustine Martin Martinez.